Haven't you got anything to say to me?
Oh, yes. Our birds all caged. The wild beasts all fitted down. Our boats, bars and chains all in good order. Is the little E sufficiently uncomfortable? Or the rats, pistols and thumbscrews all ready to work? Oh, you brute!
These allusions to my professional duties are in doubtful taste. I didn't become an head jailer because I like head jailing. I didn't become an assistant tormentor because I like assistant tormenting. We can't all be sorcerers, you know. Ah, you brought that on yourself.
Colonel Fairfax is not a sorcerer. He's a man of science and an alchemist.
Well, whatever he is, he won't be one for long, for he's to be beheaded today for dealing with the devil. Ah, his master nearly had him last night when the fire broke out in the Beecham Tower.
Oh, I wish he had escaped in the confusion. But take care, there's still time for a reply to his petition for mercy.
Yeah, I'm willing to chance that tonight at 7:30.
Oh, you're a cruel monster to speak so unfeelingly to the young and handsome soldier.
Young and handsome? How do you know he's young and handsome?
Because I've seen him every day for weeks past, taking his exercise at the Beecham Tower.
Curse him!
Oh, there. I believe you're jealous of him now. Jealous of a man I've never spoken to. Jealous of the poor soul who's to die in an hour.
And I'm jealous of everything and everybody. I'm jealous of the very words I speak to you, because they reach your ears and I can't go near them.
How unjust you are. Jealous of the words you speak to me? Why, you know as well as I do that I don't even like them.
Well, you used to like them.
I used to pretend I liked them. It was mere politeness to comparative strangers.
I don't believe you know what jealousy does to a man. How it eats away at a man's heart, disorders his digestion, and turns his insides to molten lead. Oh, you are a heartless jade to trifle with the delicate organisation of the human interior.
Colonel Fairfax
number 14 in the cold harbour, that he might have his last hour alone with his confessor. And I to see to that.
Poor gentleman, he'll die bravely. I fought with him 2 years since. He found his wife as it were together.
He's the best of ravens and the handsomest man in England. And it's a cruel thing, a wicked thing, and a barbarous thing that the gallant hero should lose his head. For it's the handsomest head in England.
The dealings with the devil? Aye, if all were beheaded who dealt with him, there'd be busy doings here on Tower Green.
You know very well that Colonel Fairfax is a student of alchemy. Nothing more and nothing less. But this wicked tower, like a cruel giant in a fairy tale, must be fed with blood, and that blood must be the best and the bravest in England, or it's not good enough for the old blunderball. Yes.
Well, you silly girl, you know not what you say. I was born in the old keep, and I've grown grey in her. Please God, I shall die and be buried in her. And not a stone in these walls is not as dear to me as my own right hand.
And
No, my lads, but there's one hope yet. My brother, Leonard, who as a reward in saving his standard and cutting his way through 50 foes who would have hanged him, has been appointed a yeoman of the guard, will arrive here this morning. And as he comes straight to Windsor where the court is, it may be, I say it may be, that he brings the expected reprieve with him.
Oh, that he may.
Amen to that. For the Colonel twice saved my life, and I give the rest of my life to save his. And wilt thou not be glad to welcome thy brave brother, with the fame of whose exploits all England is a-ringing?
Aye, truly. If he brings the reprieve.
And thought otherwise.
Well, he's a brave fellow indeed, and I love brave men.
All brave men.
Most of them I very indeed. But I do hope Ned will not be too strict with me, for they say he's a very dragon of virtue and circumspection. Now, my dear old father is kind of well.
And these be pretty much to thy own ways, eh? Ah, Phoebe, I have no fears for thee. Thou hast a clever brain, but art a lass.
That's all very well. But if Leonard is going to tell me I may not do this and I may not do that and I may not walk with this one or talk with that one, I must go for the world with my eyes cast down, my lips pursed up like a poor man who has renounced mankind. Well, as I have not renounced mankind, and I don't mean to renounce mankind, I won't have it.
He'll not shake thee more than is good for thee, Phoebe. He's a brave fellow, and bravest among brave fellows. It seems just yesterday that he robbed the lieutenant's orchard.
Father!
Oh, Leonard, my brave boy, I'm right glad to see thee. And so it's Phoebe.
Has not come back with reprieve?
Nay, I have here a dispatch for the lieutenant, but no reprieve for the colonel.
Oh, poor gentleman, poor gentleman.
I would that I thought better news. I would give my right hand, nay, my body, my life to save his.
Speaking earnest, my lad.
Aye, father, I'm no braggart. Did he not save thy life? And am I not his foster brother?
Then hearken to me. Thou hast come to join the yeomen of the guard.
Well,
There's none to speak thee but ourselves.
and the sentry who took but scant notice of me.
Now to prove thy word, give me the dispatch, and get thee hence at once. Here is money, and I'll say more. I'll give you for a space and let nobody know. I shall convey a suit of yeoman's uniform to the colonel's cell. He shall shave off his beard so that none shall recognise him, and I shall own him as my own son, the brave Leonard Merrill, who saved his flag and cut his way through 50 foes who thirsted for his life. He will be welcomed without question by my brother Yeomen, I'll warrant that. Now, how to get access to the colonel's cell? The key lies with thy sour-faced admirer, Wilfrid Shadbolt.
I think, mind I say, I think, I can get anything I like from Wilfrid. I think, mind I say, I think, you may leave that to me.
Then get thee hence at once, my lad, and bless thee for this sacrifice.
Take my blessing too, dear Leonard.
Thine too, eh? Thy love is newborn. Take care and wrap it up carefully, lest it take cold and die.
Alas, I waver to and fro, dark danger hangs on the sea.
Dark danger hangs on the
Spirit went and dwell in them, but other not the heart that went the hand to
The air I breathe today, my own, my life is in. leads him to the cold harvest guard to await his end.
Halt! Colonel Fairfax, my old friend. We meet, but sadly.
Sir, I greet you with all goodwill, and thank you for the zealous care with which you have guarded me from all the pestilent dangers which threaten human life outside. In this happy little community, death, when he comes, does so in punctual and business-like fashion, like a courtly gentleman gives due notice of his advent, but one may not be taken unawares.
Sir, you bear this bravely, as a brave man should.
So it's no light boon to die swiftly and surely at a given hour and in a given fashion. Truth to tell, I should rather have my life, but if that is not to be, then I have the next best thing. Believe me, sir, my lot is not so much amiss.
Oh, Father, I cannot bear it.
My poor lass, nay, pretty one, my weaker star, such a life as mine is not worth weeping for. Sergeant Merrow, is it not? May I greet my old friend? Hey, what's all this? Well, I've faced the grim old king a dozen times. Never has his majesty come to me in so goodly a fashion. Stout heart. We're soldiers down the line, we know how to die. Believe me, it's easier to die well than to live well. In truth, that's right. Is life a boon? If so, it must be born. That step whenever he called must fall too soon. The fourscore years he gave, yet one would pray to live another moon. What kind of flight had I, who perished in July, who perished in July? I might have had to die a chance in June. I might have had to die a chance in June. Is life a thorn? Then count it not a whit, nay, count it not a whit, man if undone with it. Soon as he's born, he should all be the same to cast the plague away. And I, for captured fugitive, my life must I might have had to live another morn. I might have had to live another today. I made this straight for no better reason than that my kinsman, Sir Clarence Maltwhistle, one of the Secretaries of State, has me charged with sorcery so that he may succeed to my estate, which devolves to him should I die unmarried.
As thou wilt most surely do.
Nay, as I will most surely not do by your lordship's grace. I have it in mind to thwart this good cousin of mine.
How?
Why, by marrying forthwith, to be sure.
But who was thou married?
Oh, no, I'm indifferent on that score. Kind death has made of me a true and chivalrous knight who holds all womankind in such esteem that the poorest, the plainest, the least favoured of them is good enough for him. So, good lieutenant, If thou wilt serve a poor soldier who has but an hour to live, find me the first that comes. My confessor shall marry us, and her dower shall be my dishonoured name, and 100 crowns to boot. No such small dower for an hour of matrimony.
'Tis a strange request, and I doubt that I should be warranted in granting it.
There never was a marriage fraught with so little of evil to the contracting parties. In an hour she'll be a widow. And I, a bachelor again for aught I know.
Well, I'll see what can be done, for I hold thy kinsman in abhorrence for the scurvy trick that he has played on thee.
1,000 thanks, good sir. We meet again on this spot in an hour or so. I shall be a bridegroom then, and your worship shall wish me joy. Until then, farewell. I'm ready, good fellows.
He is a brave fellow, and it is a pity he should die. Now, where to find your wife at such short notice? Well, the task should be easy.
Thou dost not. Now observe, she said, hands off. And whose hands? Thine. And of who? Her. And why? Because she's a woman. And had she not been a woman, thy hands would not have been set upon her at all. So the reason for the laying on of hands is the reason for the taking on of hands. Therein lies contradiction, contradicted. Contradicted. The very marriage of pro with con. And no such lopsided union either as times go. For pro is no more unlike con than man is unlike woman. Yet men and women marry every day with nothing to say over the pretty women. Except like I. Now, wherewithal shall we please you? We can rhyme you couplet. Trial it. Quatrain. Rondelay. Sonnet. Ballad. What you will. Or we can dance you Sarah Gondola, Carol, Pimpernel, Jumping Joe.
Merry man is made. Therein is a song and a dance too.
I have a song to sing, Back, sir, back. This is going too far.
That's not see the humour of it, eh? Yeah, there's humour in all things, even.
What is this? Honor!
I was proud of these folks, and I would have repaid us with gross courtesy, but for your honour's coming.
Away with you! Clear the road! Now, my girl, who are you? And what did you do here?
Excuse you, sir. We are two strolling players, Zachary and I, Maynard, at your worship service. We travel from fair to fair, singing and dancing, playing brief interludes, and so we make a poor living.
You too, eh? Are you man and wife?
No, sir, although I am a fool, there is a limit to my folly. Mother, old Richard Maynard travels with us. Poor Elsie is a good girl. The old woman is a bedridden feeder, and we come here to pick up some silver to buy her an electric.
Hark ye, my girl. Your mother is ill
Oh, sorely ill, sir.
and has need of food and other things thou canst not buy.
My lass, that's too true.
Wouldst thou earn 100 crowns?
100 crowns? You might say it alive.
Then listen. A worthy but unfortunate gentleman is to be beheaded in the hour on this very spot. For sufficient reason, before he dies, he desires to marry and has asked me to find him a wife. Wilt thou be that wife?
Wife of a man I've never seen?
Look, sir, I'm concerned. It's all right, although I'm not yet married to her, you know. Time works wonders, and there's no knowing what's in store for us. Do we have your worship's word for it that this gentleman will die today?
Nothing is more certain, I agree to say.
And that the maiden will be allowed to depart at the very instant the ceremony is at an end?
The very instant. You have my word of honour upon it.
And 100 crowns?
And 100 crowns.
Well, for my part, I can send this for us to see.
I'll say you may, and will you wear the man about to lose his head? For half an hour you'll be away, and then the town is yours for life. The head like a wedding news, if true the poet tell, those bright and merry lose both head and heart as well.
Thank you.
And so, my good fellows, you're a jester.
I like some of my jests out of place.
I have a need for such a one. Tell me, what are your qualifications for such a post?
Marry, sir, I have a pretty wit. I can rhyme your extemple. I can convulse you with wit and conundrum. I have the lighter philosophies at my tongue's tip. I can be merry, wise, grim, sardonic, and one by one, all at once. I have a pretty turn for anything. I know all the jests, ancient and modern, past, present, and to come. I can riddle you from the dawn of day to the set of sun, and if that contents you not, well, on to midnight and the small hours. Oh, sir, I have a pretty wit. I want you a pretty wit. I find a joke, and with crank, for dirty folk, and let it crack. I fly my craft, and with a fear, but in my shaft, and prince or peer, and fear or prince, and prince or peer, I aim my shaft, and know no fear. I twist east or west, but such no happiness. You may find it a cheering or a jest, or distant in a volley or a fall. I can teach you the bit by the mind. I can train you to learning from the law. Oh, with all my folly, and it's fine. I'll make you to the job. Oh, with all my folly, and it's fine. Wait to the truth of the charm. I can say that I'm afraid of the deep outside with the you may wear a very long, but this love is ever when all the world very nice. So listen to swallow the pill. Oh, you make better wise. It's always a good song. Oh, you make better wise. Or gild the pillow of your. 'Cause 'tis 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 'tis
condemned man and his confessor be closeted alone with a strange singing girl, I would fain despise them, but they stopped up the keyhole, my keyhole. What could he have wanted with her? That's what puzzles me.
Said he, tell me. Wilfred, has the reprieve arrived?
None, neither George Fairfax is to die.
Nay, thou knowest that I have naught but pity for the poor condemned gentleman.
I know that he who is about to die is more to thee than I who am alive and well.
Why, that is out of reason, dear Wilfred. Do they not say that a live ass is better than a dead lion? No, I don't mean that.
Oh, they say that, do they?
It's unpardonably rude of them. I do believe they put it that way. Not that it applies to thee, who art clever beyond all telling.
Oh, yes, as an assistant tormentor.
Nay, as a wit, a humorist, a most philosophic commentator upon the vanity of human resolution.
Truly, I have seen great resolution give way under my persuasive methods. In the nice regulation of a thumbscrew, in the 100th part of a single revolution, lies all the difference between a stony reticence and a torrent of impassioned unbosoning that the pen can scarcely follow. Oh, I am a mad wag.
Thou art a most delightful and light-hearted companion, Master Wilfred. Thine anecdotes of the torture chamber are the prettiest hearing.
I am a pleasant fellow, and I choose. I believe I am the merriest of the class. Woof woof! We should be passing happy together.
Perhaps. I do not know.
Well, that would make a loving and tender wife.
I, to one whom I really love. For there is a wealth of love in this little heart, saving up for, I wonder who. Now, of all the world of men, I wonder who. To think that he whom I am to wed is now alive and somewhere. Perhaps far away. Perhaps close at hand. And I know him not. It seemeth that I am wasting time in not knowing him.
Say it is I, suppose it for the nonce. Say me all, just suppose it only, and that thou wert my very bride, and I was thy bright, cheery, joyous, frolicsome husband. And the day's work being done, and the prisoners stored away, we are alone together, with a long evening stretching before us.
It's a pretty picture, but I scarcely know. It cometh so unexpectedly, and yet, were I thy bride,
Oh, wert thou my bride?
how I would love thee!
Oh,
Were I thy bride, then all the world beside were not too wise to hold my wealth of love. Were I thy bride, upon thy breast, my loving head would rest upon her neck, the tender touch of love. Were I thy bride, the joyless would be one heart with thine, and in that shrine this happiness would dwell. Were I thy bride, and all day long our life would be a song of grief, no wrong would make my heart revolve. Were I thy bride, the silvery moon, the melancholy sunrise, wishing my own with the moon. Were I thy bride, the thine ox thrill were but this golden shrill to the soft thrill of you never knew.
I should be no mean judge of women, having been more hotly wooed than most men. I have been wooed by maid, widow and wife. I have been wooed boldly, timidly, tearfully, shyly, by direct assault, by suggestion, by intimation, by inference, and by innuendo. This wooing is not of the common order. This is the wooing of one who must needs woo me if she die for it.
The deed is so far safely accomplished. How she wheedled him, the sly boots. What a helpless ninny is a lovesick man. He is but as a lute in her hands. She plays upon him whatever tune she will. Ah, the colonel comes. Maybe he's just in time for the Yeomen parade here for his execution in 2 minutes.
My good kind friend, the run is a great risk.
Tough, sir, no risk. I want to come here will recognise you. You make a parade, Yeomen. See, this sword should hang thus. And this ruffian. Better, so. Now, remember, you're my brave son, Lem Merrill.
If I cannot bear my own name, there is none of us. I should most more readily wear that.
Don't hold this side, before they come.
I beg your pardon.
Don't you know me? I'm a little Phoebe.
Phoebe. Is this Phoebe? What? Little Phoebe. Is she? It must be, surely, yes, it's Phoebe. Your from. Here's my life, my life, my life, here's my life,
rather think this, where is me, I rather think this, where is me, I rather think, what if I belong is right and I am left alone bereft, where is me, I rather think this, where is me, I rather think, where is me, merry jest of 2 Ambrose, number 7,863. Poor Wit and the Rich Counsellor. Certain poor Wit, being unhungered, did beat a well-fed counsellor. Marry, fool, quoth the counsellor. Away. Well, in truth, said the poor wag, I've eaten all these last 2 days, and I did wither away, and that right rapidly. The counsellor laughed hugely and gave him a sausage. That counsellor was easier to please than my new master, the lieutenant. I'd like to play post under that counsellor. It is melancholy mumming when poor, jilted, heartbroken Jack Point leads them to Hugh Ambrose for original light humour.
Master Point.
Ah! Friend jailer! That was jailer that never shut me more, jailer that jailed not, or in jail he did so unjailably that was Jerry jailing, or jailing in joke, though no joke to everybody is unjailed, I jail, so Shepherd died his jailer shit. Take heart, smile, wink, twinkle, thou tormentor that tormentest. Thou racker that rackest not, thou creature out of place. Come, take off and be merry, as I am. As I am. Fine.
'Tis well for thee to laugh. Thou hast a good post and hast cause to be merry.
Cause? Have we not all cause? Is not this world a big bus of humour into which all those will may drive a it? See, I'm astounded with and there's always in nature more ridiculous. A poor, dull, heartbroken man that needs must be merry lest he be whipped, who must rejoice lest he starve, who must jest you, jibe you, whip you, crank you, rack you, wriggle you from hour to hour, from day to day, from year to year, lest he dwindle, starve, perish, pine and die. Why, if there's nothing else to laugh at, I laugh at myself till I ache for it.
I have often thought that a jester's calling would suit me to a hair.
See, would suit me thou death's head and crossbones.
Well, I have a pretty wit, a light, airy, joysome wit, spiced with anecdotes of the prison cell and the torture chamber. I have tried it on many a prisoner, and there have been some of them as have smiled. Now, it is not easy to make a prisoner, and it should not be difficult to be a good jester, seeing as how thou art one.
Difficult? There is nothing easier, attend, and I'll prove it to thee. From the morning to the night, it's a joyous family bubbles. He's acquainted to her, both in prose and in verse, in this translation. There are 1 or 2 rules that a family rules must observe their life and faith. There are 1 or 2 rules up and down, they mean that a family rules or whatever degree must observe their life and faith. If you wish to succeed as a jester, you'll need to consider each person. But before I can feel quite scandalized here, you'll see it's so every particular. And he may be done, and he's very scarlet, enter, raise, one end is a job, and will cry with a cough. It is heard with this joke is great. But they laugh on edges of it, doesn't you out when a bird is now? Up the little joke to be great. If your master is certain you can get nothing in it's a short in the morning, and if opportune jokes and enough to provoke you to give you at once a warning, and if you refrain his action again, if he likes to get back his money, he'll ask in a turn, with an insolent stern, If you know your case will be fine. As a general rule, they all seem to make friends. If the family all doesn't just to friends. Half the ground stock out your way. Loves a bishop, they be or a solid, indeed, but beware of his act of reverbing. Then a lock with his hair and his pins in his cherry and a hard stamp. In the jest which is back and the woman on back, yet at last half the stages, but should they by chance, give possible chance, or crowns not out of the wedges. As a general rule, they will see that they mention the rapid, just jump to the ranch, of the crowns not out of the wedges. Your head may back from the biggest attack of your senses, you think they can lose. There'll be no guilt back, finally for that. Wait. They all might run away with the soldier that day, but whether you're trying to money, less or fast, they don't mind. They're exceedingly kind. They don't blame you so long as you're fine. It's a comfort to feel your heart is your fit, though you suffer a little, they don't mind it a bit. They don't blame you so long as you're funny. Elsie Maynard was secretly wed to this Fairfax half an hour ere he escaped.
She did well.
She did nothing of the kind, so what's my piece of purpose? Now, while he lived, she said to me and I to her. My gibes and jokes notwithstanding, I'm the saddest and sorriest dog in the whole of England.
Thou art a very dull dog indeed.
Now, if thou wilt swear that thou did shoot this Fairfax while he was trying to swim across the river, in the foot of dischargement after us on the dark night, and that he sank and was seen no more, then I'll make thee the very archbishop of jesters, and that's in 2 days' time. Now, what sayest thou?
Am I to lie?
Heartily, but thy lie must be a lie of circumstance, that I will support with the testimony of my eyes, my ears, and my tongue.
And thou wilt qualify me as a jester?
A jester amongst jesters. I'll teach thee all my original songs, my own self-constructed rhythms, my own ingenious paradoxes. Nay, more. I'll reveal to thee the sources from whence I get them. Now what sayest thou?
Well, if it's just a lie thou wantest, I hold it cheap enough and say, yes, it is a bargain.
Here I go, river the green, and to sing the world by Halloween, to a friend, old Arabic, oh, you are Elsie, I was born with a story, with a glory,
On a day like one and all, I swear,
I swear to you declare, I swear to you.
Gone. No sign of Colonel Fairfax. The dogs. everywhere, safe within a dozen yards of his own dungeon. So, I'm free. Free but for the cursed haste with which I hurried into the bonds of matrimony with heaven knows who. She should have been young, but even in her face not been covered by a handkerchief, I doubt that I, in my dense state, should have taken much note of her. Free. The tower bonds were but as a thread of silk compared with these conjugal fetters that I, fool that I was, placed upon mine own hands. And the one I broke readily enough. I can't break another. Free from his fetters grim, free to depart, free both in life and limb, in all but heart, bound to an unknown bride, for good or ill. Art is not one so tied, a prisoner still, a prisoner still. Art is not one so tied, a prisoner still. Free, yet in fetters held, till his last hour. Gyves that no smith can weld, no rust divide. Although an honest hand has set him free, although a captive band, the saddest him, the saddest him. Although the captive band, the saddest, saddest him. Sergeant Merrill, how fares thy pretty charge? Help you Maynard.
Well enough. She's quite strong again and leaves us tonight.
Thanks to Dame Carruthers' kind nursing, eh?
Aye, deuce take the old witch. What a sorry trick you played me to bring the fainting girl to me. It gave the old lady an excuse for taking up her quarters in my house. And I've shown her like the plague for the last 2 years. Another day of it, and she'd have married me. Good Lord, is she again?
Hey, Sergeant Merrill, hello. I've something of great import to say to thee.
Sorry. I'm wanted here.
No, Master Leonard. I just want to say to my father that his son may not hear.
True, I'm one of the family. I've forgotten.
It's about this Elsie Maynard. A pretty girl, Master Leonard.
Aye, there is peach blossom. What then?
Has a liking for thee, if I mistake not.
Aye, with all my heart. She's as fair a maid as you see on Midsummer Day's March.
And be wanting time, give not thy heart to her. Oh, I know what it is to give my heart to one who will have none of it.
Aye, she knows all about that. And so why did my boy behave even her? She's a good girl, then, for others.
Good enough for aught I know. But she's no girl. She, a married woman.
A married woman? Hush, old lady, she's promised to Jack Point, the Lieutenant's new jester.
Tushy my teeth, old man. As my niece Kate sat by her bedside today, his healthy slept. And as she slept, she moaned and groaned, and turned this way and that way, and how shall I marry one whom I have never seen, quoth she. Then, 100 crowns, quoth she. Then, is it certain he will dine an hour, quoth she. Then, I love him not, and yet I am his bride, quoth she. Is it not so, Kate?
I answered even so.
I'm not sure of this.
I, sir, for I wrote it all down on my tablet.
Now mark my words, because of this Colonel Fairfax she spake, and he is her husband, or else swallow my kirtle.
Is this true, sir? True, why the girl was raving. But why should she marry one who's but now to live?
Marry? There be those who would marry but for a minute, rather than die old maids.
Aye, but I know one of those. My mysterious bride is none other than this Winsome Elsie. By my hand, there's no such ill plunge into fortune's lucky bag. Could have fared worse with my eyes open. But she comes, now to test her principles. 'Tis not every married man has a chance of wooing his own wife. Ah, Mr. Darcy.
Master Leonard.
So, leave us just tonight?
Yes, Master Leonard, I've been kindly tended. And I always care I'm glad to go.
And this, Colonel Fairfax, wast thou glad when he escaped?
Why, 'tis truly a sad thing when a young, gallant gentleman should die in the very fullness of his life.
So, when thou didst faint in my arms, it was for joy at his safety?
Might be so. I was highly wrought, and I am but a girl, and so when I'm highly wrought, I faint.
Now dost thou know I am consumed with a parlous jealousy?
How? And of who?
Why, of this Fairfax, surely.
Of Colonel Fairfax.
Aye. Shall I be frank with thee? Elsie, I love thee. I love thee ardently, passionately. Elsie, I have loved thee these 2 days past, which is a long time, and I would fain join my life to thine.
Master Zealot, thou art jesting.
Jesting? May I shrivel into raisins if I jest. Elsie, I love thee with a love which is a fever, with a love which is a frenzy, with a love which eateth up my heart. How say you? You will not let my heart be eaten up.
Oh, Bertie, what am I to say?
Dost thou love me, or hast thou been insensible these 2 days?
Love all brave men.
Nay, there is love in excess. I thank heaven there are many brave men in England, but if thou lovest them all, then I withdraw my thanks.
I love the brave excess, but though I may not listen, I'm not free. I'm a wife.
Oh, wife? Whose? His name. His hours are numbered, nay, his grave is already dug and his epitaph set up. His name.
Oh, sir, please keep my secret. It's the only barrier that fate has set up between us. My husband, none other than Colonel Fairfax.
Colonel Fairfax? The greatest villain unhung? The most ill-favoured, ill-natured, ill-tempered, ill-omened dog in all Christendom?
He was not to me, for I've never seen him. I was blindfolded, and he was to have died within the hour, only he didn't die. And now I'm wedded to him, and my heart is broken.
He was to have died, and he did not die? The scoundrel! The perjured, traitorous villain! You should have insisted on him dying in the first place, to make sure. It's the only way with these Fairfaxes.
I now wish I had.
I speak for this Fairfax. He cares nothing for you. He dare not show his face. And if he does, what art thou to him? Come, fly with me. We shall be married tomorrow, and you shall be the happiest woman in all England.
Master Leonard, I am amazed, because that's a brave soldier seeks young girl. So for shame, for shame. I wear nothing less as I love not my husband, but I am a wife and I have a duty. And oh, sir, that words are wicked words. They terrify me. They're unworthy thy grace and thy heart.
Elsie, I was but jesting. I spake but to try thee. Mark, what was that, sir? My heart was fire from the war, and as I might to say, strange and of such an air. What can it mean? Now what can that be? A shot ring at night. Ding dong, call of night. What can the morning be? What away, the land is not so to be read. What danger in that hand? Who was the shot? When was the truth revealed? Lord, was I to rashly judge or bear?
My lord, 'twas he who rashly judged or bear.
I could coach his visual keeping.
For respecting of love falling, I beheld a figure creeping. I saw him crawling. He was creeping, creeping, crawling, creeping, crawling, creeping, crawling.
But hesitation by myself upon his path. Horrid sensation, greatly by heart. And we were with one another, in a rush of trouble to one another. And the one was the fancy of my heart.
On the mighty bugger muscle, I descend for a struggle. If I take the stronger muscle, my son will juggle. Sliding, jump, shooting, rhythm, conversation, shaking.
might be lost, but a boy must be found when he falls. To visit fame without undue delay. So get to work with what is that you may. So get to work with what is that we may.
And as he had to die, he might as well have died last as any other way. It was a good death.
Well, he was my husband, and had he not been, he was nevertheless a living man, and now he's dead. And so, by your leave, Master Poet, my tears may flow unfilled.
And thou didst see all this?
I, with both eyes at once, this and that. The tested one eye but naught, he may lie. But when it is corroborated by the other, it is got evidence that none may gainsay. Here are those present in court ready to swear me.
But aren't thou sure it was Colonel Fairfax? Saw thou his face?
Aye, and a plaguey, ill-favoured face too, a very hangdog, a felon face, a face to fright the headsman in soul and make him strike a rhyme. Oh, take my word for it, a plaguey bad face. Oh, how they laugh! 'Tis ever thus with simple folk, and accepted wit has but to say, pass the mustard, and they roll their wits out.
If I should ever come to life again, I will pay for that, Master Poet.
Now, Elsie, thou art free to choose again. So behold me, I'm young and well favoured. Have a pretty wit. I can jest you, whip you, jibe you, joke you, touch you, crack you, rap you.
Thou knowest not how to woo. 'Tis not done with time-worn jests and threadbare sophistries, with rhymes, riddles, quips, conundrums. 'Tis an art in itself, and must be studied gravely and conscientiously. A man would woo a maid, should prentice himself to his trade, and study all day, but God away, while laughter and joy sway. He should prentice himself at 14, and study from morning till eve, and when his age There is one here whom, as thou knowest, loves thee right well.
That he does right well.
He is but a man of poor estate, but he has a true and honest heart. He will make thee a loving and trusty husband, and if thou wilt be his wife, thou shouldst lie curled up in his heart like a little squirrel in his nest.
That's a pretty figure. The maggot in a nut lies closer, but a squirrel will do.
He knows thou wast a wife, an unloved and unloving wife, and his heart was near to breaking. But now that thine unloving husband is dead and thou art free, he would fain pray that thou wouldst hearken unto him, and give him hope that one day thou wouldst be his.
Raises her hands and he whispers in her ear. Oh, Bobby, what does it mean?
Tell me, sweetheart, wilt thou be this poor good fellow's wife?
It's the good brave man. Is he a good brave man?
So men say.
'Tisn't true, but let that aside.
If the good brave man will be content with a poor, penniless, some-sort maid,
Widow, but let that pass.
I will be his true and loving wife, and that is my heart of heart.
My own dear love.
Oh, enough, Master Nicholas. An actor that must have this feeling, but he thinks that thou art overthinking thyself.
Nay, that's for Elsie to say. You wanted me to teach you how to woo, and herein lies the virtue of my teaching. Go thou and apply it elsewhere.
Oh, the happy days of doom. So the doing and undoing. Chester is outwitted, meetings fester, past his head. Food for fishes, only fitted, just so wishes he was dead. Food for fishes, only fitted, just so wishes he was dead. In tears, eh? What a plague are thou grizzly for now?
Why am I grizzly? Thou was often wet with jealousy. Well, it's with jealousy I wish now. I, yellow, bilious, jaundiced jealousy. Make the most of that, Master Wilfred.
But I have never given any cause for jealousy. The lieutenant's cook maid and I are but the merest gossips.
Jealousy? Bah! I'm jealous of no craven cock on the hill who crows about what he's doing when he's dead. I'm jealous of another better man than thou. Set that down, Master Wilfred. And here's to marry Elsie Maynard, the little pale fool. Set that down, Master Wilfred. For my heart is well nigh broken. So have it all. Make the most of it.
The man thou lovest is to marry Elsie Maynard, but that's none other than my brother, Leonard Merrill.
Mercy, what have I said?
What manner of brother is this thou lying, little Jane? Speak! Who is this man thou hast called brother? And fondled, and coddled, and kissed! With my connivance, oh Lord, with my connivance! Should this be this Fairfax? It is! It is a cursed Fairfax! This Fairfax who...
Just shot through the head if you like at the bottom of the river.
I may be mistaken. We are but fallible mortals, the best of us. But I'll make sure! I'll make sure!
James, one word. I think it cannot be Fairfax. I cannot think, because thou hast just slain Fairfax. But whether he be Fairfax or no Fairfax, he is to marry Elsie. And as thou hast just shot him through the head and he is dead, be content with that. And I will be thy wife.
Oh, is that sure?
Aye, sure enough, there's no help for it. Thou art a very brute. But even brutes must marry, I suppose.
My beloved!
Phoebe, rejoice, for I bring glad tidings. Colonel Fairfax's reprieve was signed 2 days since, but it was foully and maliciously held back by Secretary Poltwhistle, who designed that it should arrive after the Colonel's death. It has just come to hand and is now in the possession of the Lieutenant.
So the castle is free. Oh, kiss me, my dear, kiss me. Yes.
Oh, good to be alive! Are you mad? Are we merry all mad?
I'm mad with joy.
Come away, thou humpty thou jade, thou kissing, clinging cockatrice. And as for thee, sir, the devil take thee. I'll rip thee like a herring for this. I'll skin thee for it. I'll cleave thee to the tide. Phoebe, Phoebe, who is this man?
He fool. He is my brother.
Another brother. How many more of them are there? Show them all at once and let me know the worst.
This is the real Leonard, dolt. The other was but his substitute. The real Leonard, I say, my father's own son.
How do I know this? Has he brother writ large upon his brow? I mistrust thy brothers. Thou art a full shade.
Now, Wilfred, be just. Truly I did deceive thee before, but it was to save a precious life, and to save it not for me, but for another. We are to be wed this very day. Is not it enough for thee? Come, I am thy Phoebe, thy very own, and we will be wed in a year, or 2, or 3, at the very most. Come, is not that enough for thee?
Phoebe, hast thou heard the brave news?
I, Father.
I'm mad with joy. Oh, what's all this?
Father, Wilfred discovered our secret through my folly, and the price of his silence is...
Phoebe's heart.
Phoebe's hand.
It is the same thing.
Tis a pity, but the Colonel had to be saved at any cost, and as thy folly revealed our secret, so thy folly must e'en pay for it. Thank your others.
So, it's a plot to shield this archfiend, and I have discovered it. One word from me, and 3 heads would roll from my shoulders.
Hey, Colonel Fairfax is reprieved. If my complicity in this keep were known, they got the old fellow. There's nothing for it. Hush, pretty one. Such bloodthirsty words ill become those cherry lips. Oh, look, ye chunk. For many months I thought there's snug love saved up in that middle-aged bosom for someone, and why not for thee? That's me. So take heart, and tell her, that's thee, that thou lovest her, thee, and oh, well, I'm a miserable old man, and I've done it now, and that's me. But not a word about Colonel Fairfax. The price of thy silence is...
No heart.
Oh, no, Colonel's hand.
It's the same thing.
It... It's all the sanity, floating vividly down the activity, captivity, floating vividly down the activity, captivity,
Joyful when the music means so joyful and the music sweet so mine, and the melody is the very joyful, it's so
Yucky, when my sorrow hurts, the old tomorrow, after Harry, you to Harry, go to Harry, yucky,
joyful, joyful.
Yeomen is a heart of massive rock, unmoved by sentimental shock.
Attend to me and shed a tear or two. For I have a song to sing. Sing your song. Songs whom I love long lose left from walking strong. Song of a merriment broken heart, the song the silence must sing the sound you break the cries of love again.